Okay, this is the 10th anniversary of the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame, so this is our 10th induction class, and we're going to start it right off with Celeste Perry and Terry McGovern. They're going to introduce them. I have the envelopes. We had over 4,500 ballots, paper and online, and they were all counted by that famous accounting firm of Cushman and Shapiro, and we're ready to go on this. This is the first category is the pioneers. These are the people that set up the foundation of broadcasting here in the Bay Area in various departments, both disc jockeys and people behind the scenes. So the first one is for Terry McGovern to announce. No, this is Doc Carnac.
How many remember KSFO when it was a music station, personality station? Probably the most important person at that station. The person that really made the station click was this beautiful woman. We used to call her Legs. I know that's very sexist now, but she liked it because she had beautiful legs. But she was an absolute monster radio programmer. Her name, Elma Greer. And we lost her a few years ago, but my God, she was amazing. Elma started her 28-year tenure with KSFO in 1960. During this period, beside music director, she was also assistant program director. Named Music Director of the Year 3 times by the Gavin Report, as well as receiving several gold records. Mind you, she was the one that selected the core of the music for the station. And she wasn't just a fuddy-duddy. She wasn't just going for the old stuff. New things would come in, Van Morrison, Santana. If she liked it, if she thought it would work well on the station, she put it on the list. One of Elma's favorite duties was to help San Francisco State students pull their records for the DJ debut Records at Random on Sunday nights on the world's greatest radio station. I think Ben Fong-Torres might know about this as a note, but we'll get to that. Anyway, would you please give a round of applause for Elma Greer.
And now our second pioneer.
Second of 2 pioneer inductees is Gil Har. Gil was brought in from Denver to work at KOBY as a DJ in 1958, and when the station fell to the KYA and KEWB promotional onslaught, he moved to Fresno's KMJ for 5 years. When Gil came back to the Bay Area in 1966, he spent the next 22 years as news director at KNEW, KNAI, News and Information, and reporter at KCBS. And finally, when I got to work with Gil, news director of Magic 61 before he retired in 2001, the lovely and talented Gil Har. Let's have a big warm round of applause for Gil.
Our next category is news, both on air and in the field.
Thank you, Len. Pardon me. Mike Colgan. Mike Colgan has been part of the Bay Area radio scene for the past 40 years. He has covered most of the top news stories in the Bay Area during this period. He began his career at KFRC, the Big 610, as part of the great 2020 news team. He then did some DJ work at KPEN in Los Altos before joining, of course, that's the station we're honoring this year. This was before joining KCBS in '88. Mike currently works out of the Silicon Valley Bureau. Would you please welcome the newest inductee, Mike Colgan, into the Radio Hall of Fame.
The next one is kind of a 2-part presentation. The first one is the engineer, and that's selected by the Society of Broadcast Engineers, Chapter 40 of San Francisco. And strangely enough, he was also nominated as Educator of the Year. And Celeste?
Do the honors, thank you. All right, second. Ken Nealson was a true radio and TV pioneer and broadcast educator. This is a great story. Ken came to the Bay Area from Denver in 1941 and convinced the San Francisco Unified School District to apply for an FM license and purchase an RCA demonstration FM transmitter used at the 1939 Treasure Island Expo. The end result was KALW, the first FM station on the West Coast. Ken is truly a visionary. The school offered both programming and engineering classes. And then when TV showed up, Ken decided that was where he should put some of his energy and convinced the school district to purchase cameras and related equipment. The equipment was used after school hours to start KQED TV. Ken continued to run both the engineering classes and KALW until his retirement in 1975. Ken Nealson, educator inductee, and also our engineer inductee and a true visionary in Bay Area radio.
Our next category is the Executive of the Year. This is both owners and managers that ran stations.
Managers? You want me to give a word to a manager?
You want to be management?
Your closest friends.
Well, this guy was horrible. Why? No, I'm kidding. Executive Management Inductee Harvey Stone. Harvey served 33 years as General Manager, President of KBLX from the purchase of KRE by Intercities Broadcasters until the sale to Entercom in 2012. He guided what was really a beautiful, beautiful bit of programming, I'm sure you'll remember, called The Quiet Storm, against the giant corporate stations to be rated in the top 3 on a consistent basis through the 1990s. He is also the godfather of CHRS, California Hysterical Radio Society, by providing the KRE facilities as the first home in Berkeley. Congratulations, Harvey Stone.
Our next is the Sports Award, which goes to either a play-by-play announcer or a commentator that does a daily sports show.
Have a big sports fan over there in the corner.
Yeah.
Here we go. Coach John Madden is our inductee in the sports category. John started on... Keep your distance. John started on KSFO with the legendary Gene Nealson. I was working there at the time, and I got the little personal thing. I got the biggest kick out of it. I just had my first son, Aaron, and at the time, this was before social media when everybody was revealing everything about themselves. I never even said I was having a baby until like a month before, and then we didn't even say his name on the radio. We cared about privacy. So Gene named him Ishkadibble, and that was his name. And I used to get the biggest kick when Gene and John Madden would talk about my baby Ishkadibble. So it's a sweet spot for me. John switched to KNBR, of course, when Gene retired, moved to KCBS when Frank Dill called it a day, and since 1988, Coach Madden has worked with Al Hart and Stan Bunger on KCBS's morning show. John's insights into the world of sports, oh yeah, football too, has made his show a must for radio sports listeners over the past 27 years. Congratulations, Coach Madden.
Next is the special category, that is program directors, music directors, etc., all the people behind the scenes.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, this gives me kind of chills because I worked with this guy and knew him very, very well. We were social friends. We also had many almost come to blow fights over things, but we loved each other very much. He was an amazing guy and a wonderful radio man. It's about time. I'm glad to see his name. Peter Scott. He was also Peter Schwartz. He was named Peter Schwartz, but he became Peter Scott, came to KSFO after several years at KSJO in San Jose. Peter worked his way up from production coordinator to production director to assistant program director under the great Al Newman, who I just spoke to yesterday, and will be at the ceremony itself in September. And then he became program director in the late 70s. That's when we started fighting. He kept the world's greatest radio station on an even keel during the rise of underground and free-form competition. After his KSFO days, he owned his own recording studio in San Francisco and did very well in the voiceover field until his passing in 2011. I miss him a lot, and I'm so glad we're honoring Peter Scott.
And now the big category 2 of the program hosts. These have regularly scheduled programs throughout the year on various radio stations and currently operating. Some are, and some have retired, but I think there are two here are operating.
Program host, number 1. South Bay native Lisa Chrysler started her career at KLOK in the news department after graduating from San Jose State. When the station switched formats, she jumped over the K-Bay to K-Bay, doing news before becoming the beloved co-host of morning show with a fellow Barhof member, Sam Van Zandt. Lisa and Sam's show has put K-Bay on the top of the San Jose ratings. Congratulations to Lisa Chrysler.
And Jerry, you have the final nominee right here.
Boy, Dusty Street. I wish I had enough time to tell you some of my Dusty stories. She's the one that got me hired at KSAN. Huh? Yeah, she's right, Dusty. Dan knows her well. Anyway, Dusty Street got her start in Bay Area radio as one of the fabled chick engineers at KMPX in 1967. She became a DJ when she moved over to KSAN after the KMPX strike. She spent a few years at KTIM before moving to the LA market from 79 to 95. Her 10 to 2, that's 10 p.m. till 2 in the morning, her blues show on KSAN was unlike anything I've ever heard before or since. She has spent the last 10 years with Sirius XM Radio as host for classic vinyl. She is just one of the greatest radio people ever. Please, Dusty Street.
Okay, and remember that our induction ceremonies will actually happen September 19th at the Doubletree in Berkeley as part of the Broadcast Legends program for the September show. And Celeste has one other announcement.
And since there's so many radio people gathered all together, I just wanted to say that I saw on Facebook yesterday that Rick Lippincott, I don't know if any of you ever worked with Rick, but I knew him in Hawaii, and he, of course, programmed KYUU here in San Francisco, had a very successful career in radio, and then moved on to do other things. Rick has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and is very sick, and is and just began treatment, so I just thought we could all put our, good vibes together and have some good thoughts for Rick Lippincott. Okay.
Yeah.